Now let's understand various methods of measuring dispersion under absolute measure of dispersion and relative measure of dispersion. So we will discuss all these methods in detail with their numerical explanation: range, variance, standard deviation, mean deviation, and quartile deviation. So these standard deviation, mean deviation, and quartile deviation are the important one, and we will discuss the coefficient of these, the measure of absolute, which is coefficient of range, coefficient of variance, coefficient of mean deviation, and coefficient of quartile deviation. So let's first start with range. So as I have already told you that range is a difference between the highest value and lowest value in a data set. As you can see in this given picture, that range is a difference between the minimum value and the maximum value. Basically, it provides a simple measure of spread or dispersion of the data. So basically, calculating the range involves the subtracting the minimum value from the maximum value. As I have discussed the formula of range, which is the largest value minus the smallest value. Okay, so we will do the numerical or one to few questions of range. So question number one, in which consider the following data of exam score. We have to find out the range. So this is the data which is given: 17, 89, 92, 64, 78, 95, and 82. So we have to find out the range of this following data. So formula of range is equal to highest value minus the smallest value. So we denote highest value with L and we denote smallest value with S. So in this question, the highest value is 95. What is the highest value? Highest value is 95. Okay, and the smallest value, what is the smallest value in this question? This 64. Smallest value is 64. So 95 minus 64. Okay, so this is how we calculate the range in a given data series. So range is 31. So basically this is how we will calculate this. Okay, so let me explain you once again this question. Okay, so basically range is equal to largest value minus the smallest value. Okay, largest value is 95 minus smallest value 64. What will be the answer? 31. Range value is 31. If we have to find out the coefficient of this, so formula for calculating the coefficient of range is L, largest value minus the smallest value divided by largest value plus the smallest value. So this is the formula. So we will calculate the coefficient in this next question. As next question, we have to find out the absolute and relative measure of range in the following distribution. So absolute measure is calculate range and relative measure is to calculate coefficient of range. As in relative measure, we will calculate coefficient of different absolute measure methods. Okay, so first of all we have to calculate the range for this particular question. When we calculate range, formula is highest value minus smallest value. Okay, so largest value, or you can say the highest value minus the smallest value. So in this question, if we look at in this question, the value of x are given 4, 5, 7, 10, 12, and 14. So the largest value is 14. What is the largest value? 14. Okay. And the smallest value is, what is the smallest value in this question? Is 4. Largest value is 14 and smallest value is 4. So we put all these value in this given formula. Largest value is 14 minus 4. So what is the value of range? 10. Okay, so this is how we calculate range. Now we will calculate the coefficient of range. So formula for calculating coefficient of range is largest value minus the smallest value, largest value minus the smallest value divided by largest value plus smallest value. Okay, so this is the formula. So this is the formula. So let's calculate. We have already calculated the value of largest and smallest value in this given distribution. So if we have to calculate the coefficient of range, then formula is largest value minus smallest value divided by largest value plus smallest value. So 14 minus 4 divided by 14 plus 4. Okay, so what will be the answer? 10 divided by 18. So is equal to, so if we do the calculation, 10 divided by 18. So answer is 0.55. So okay, so this is how we calculate range and coefficient of range in a given question. As for calculating range, we will subtract smallest value in a given series by the largest value. This is the difference between minimum value and the maximum value of a given series, or the difference between the smallest value and the largest value. And if we talk about the coefficient of range, so formula for calculating coefficient of range is largest value minus the smallest value divided by largest value plus smallest value. This is how we calculate the coefficient of range. So in these two questions, we have calculated the coefficient of range and range. Now there is one more question. Let's do the calculation, as this is the question of continuous series. Okay, so this is the question of continuous series. As you can see in this given, there is a time interval given in this question of monthly income, and number of workers are also given. So time interval is 100 to 120, 120 to 140, 140 to 160, 160 to 180, and 180 to 200. So this is the given time interval in this question. So for this given time interval, we will calculate coefficient of range. So before calculating coefficient of range, we will also calculate range. As in this question, there is directly given that calculate coefficient of range. So it's your choice. You want to calculate the range first, or you can also calculate coefficient of range directly. As for calculating coefficient of range, you need not to calculate range first. So you can directly calculate coefficient of range in this question. So for calculating coefficient of range, formula is largest value minus the smallest value divided by largest value plus smallest value. Okay, so this is the formula for calculating coefficient of range. Understood? So, first of all, we have to identify the largest value and the smallest value. What is the highest value and what is the smallest value? As we can see in this series, in this given time series interval, what is the smallest value and what is the largest value? So, when we talk about the smallest value, the smallest value in this given series is 100. Okay, the smallest value is in this given series is 100, as it is the lower limit of the lowest class. Okay, so this is the lowest class. This is the lowest class, and 100 is the lowest limit of this lowest class. Okay, now what is the highest value, or you can say the largest value? So largest value is the highest value of upper limit. So this is the upper limit. So this is the basically upper limit, 180 to 200. So highest value of upper limit is 200. So highest value of upper limit is 200. So now we put both these values, smallest value and largest value, in the given formula of coefficient of range. 200 minus by 100 divided by 200 plus by 100. Okay, so this is 100. 200 minus 100 is 100, and 200 plus 100 is 300. Okay, so when we do the calculation of this, let's do it with the help of calculator. So 100 divided by the 200. Answer is, sorry, it's 100 divided by the 300. So answer is 0.33. What's the answer? Answer is 0.33. 0.33. Okay, this will be the answer of coefficient of range. First of all, we have to find out the largest value in a series and the smallest value in the series. After that, we will put all the value in the given formula, and after calculating, we get the value of coefficient of range. Okay, so this is the calculation of coefficient of range. So after understanding the numerical of range, let's understand the application of range and advantages or and its disadvantages. So basically, range is applicable in various fields. So range has got its application in various fields like mathematics, like in science, in economics, and in social science. So it has its application in various fields. Range is basically used to analyze the variation and dispersion of a data set, as we have done with the help of numerical also. So range is used in educational assessment to understand the variation score of students, which we also discussed in percentile, decile, and quartile also, which also helps in educational assessment. Likewise, range is also used in educational assessment to understand the variation in marks and in score of students in various competitive exams. So basically, it is also helpful in clinical trial and medical research. The range of outcome for a particular treatment or medicine is studied to determine its effectiveness and its potential side effects. So in sports also, this range is used. As in sports, range can be applied to analyze the player's performance. Okay, so there are various, the range is applicable in various fields and in various areas. If we talk about the advantages and disadvantages of range in statistics, so basically range is very easy to understand. It is very easy to calculate. Range, the concept of range is simple and it is very easy to grasp for people which are unfamiliar with statistics, who are unfamiliar with the calculation part or with the numerical knowledge in statistics. So it's especially it is very essential that the difference between the highest and the lowest value in a data set make it different. So basically in range we calculate the difference between the highest and the lowest value. Okay, so the difference between highest and lowest value is determined as range. Now it is very easy to calculate, as in computing the range involve only finding the maximum and minimum value in the data set, and we have to subtract them with each other. By making it is very fast measure to calculate, and it is very easy to calculate, and it is very understand for a person who is not with the statistical background or not with the mathematical background. And it simply subtract the minimum value from the maximum value. Basically, range provides a basic measure of variability, as despite its simplicity, the range gives a basic indication of the spread or variability of the data. A large range suggests great variability, while a smaller range suggests a less variability. So this is how it is very helpful, and it have different advantages of applying range. If we talk about the disadvantages of range, then it is very sensitive to outliers. The range is heavily influenced by the extreme value of in the data set. And what are these extreme values? These are the outliers in the data set. So a single outlier or a single extreme value can greatly inflate the range, potentially give a misleading picture of the variability of the majority of data. So it does not basically consider distributions. So the range does not take into consideration the distribution of values with the data set. This is so in this, the two data set with the same range can have very different distributions. So leading to different, which may lead to the different interpretations of variability basically. So in range there is very limited information, while the range provide a basic measure of variability. It does not provide any information about the distribution, shape, or central tendency. Other measures such as the interquartile range, variance, or standard deviation offer more comprehensive insight into the data set characteristics. We will discuss these further after covering this range topic, standard deviation and mean deviation also. If we talk about the disadvantage of range, then the sample size, it depends on the sample size. Basically, in range, it does not account for sample size, or data set with different sample size may have similar range, or even if their variability differ significantly. So this can lead to misrepresentation, especially when comparing data set of different data size. Okay, so these are the some disadvantages of calculating range. Now we will move towards the next topic, quartile deviation. Now next topic is quartile deviation. So quartile, the formula for calculating quartile deviation is QD is equal to Q3 minus Q1 divided by Q2. Okay. Quartile 3 minus quartile 1 divided by 2. If we have to calculate the coefficient of quartile deviation, the formula is Q3 minus Q1 divided by Q3 plus Q1. Okay, so as in earlier slides, then when we have discussed the measure of dispersion, so there are some absolute measure and relative measure. So we are doing both the measure side by side. When we are calculating the absolute measure, then we are also calculating the relative measure of the absolute measure. Okay, so as this quartile deviation is absolute measure, and this coefficient of quartile deviation coefficient of quartile deviation is relative measure. So now we will do the mathematical calculation for calculating quartile deviation and coefficient of quartile deviation. Formula is Q3 minus Q1 divided by 2, and for calculating coefficient Q3 minus Q1 divided by Q3 plus Q1. So before going towards solving the question, let me tell you how we will calculate this Q3 and Q1. So formula for calculating Q1 is equal to N plus 1 divided by 4. This is the item. Okay. So we have given a series, and from that given series, first of all, we have to calculate this Q1. Then we have to see that what will be the particular item in that given series is occurring. Okay. Now for calculating Q3. formula is 3 multiply n plus 1, okay, divided by 4. This is also the nth item for which we are calculating. So this is how we calculate Q1 and Q3. Q1 is calculated by n plus 1 by 4 and Q3 is 3n plus 1 by 4. So first of all, we have to calculate the Q1 and Q3. After getting the item number, we have to find out that item in the given series. Then we have to put those value in this given formula so that we can get the value of quartile deviation and coefficient of quartile deviation. Okay. So this is how we will calculate this. Now let's come towards the question. So first question is calculate quartile deviation and its coefficient from the following observation. So this is the data set is given in this question, or you can say the observation is given in this question. 15, 20, 20, 21, 22, 23 and 24. Okay, so this is the observation given. So we have to put this in formula. So formula for calculating quartile deviation is equal to Q3 minus Q1 divided by 2. So this is the formula for calculating quartile deviation. So for calculating quartile deviation, we have to first calculate the value of Q1 and Q3. So first of all, we will calculate the value of Q1. So formula for calculating the value of Q1 is n plus 1 divided by 2. What is the formula? N plus 1 divided by 2. So what is n? So n is the number of item. So how many number of item in this given series? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So n is equal to 7. So there are 7 items in this given series. So 7 plus 1 divided by 2 is equal to 8. 7 plus 1, 8 divided by 2. So this is 4. What is this? So the answer is for Q1, calculating Q1 is 4 item. What is the answer? Fourth item. So what we have to do, this fourth item in this given series. So what is the fourth item? 1, 2, 3, 4. What is the fourth item? There is a change in this formula. So basically this is divided by 4. Okay, 7 plus 1 divided by 4 is equal to 2. Okay, so this is 2th item. So what is the 2th item? Is 20. So value of Q1 is Q1 is equal to 20. So value of Q1 is equal to 20. Okay, so this is how we will calculate it. Now we will calculate Q3. Q3. Q3 is equal to 3 multiplied by n plus 1 divided by Oh, okay.